Hello everyone, this is Shiv Prem, a legal intern at Lexis and Company and currently pursuing BLLB honors from Central University of South Bihar. In this today's session, I will be dealing with the law of sea, or you can say maritime law. So this topic will also be covered in two parts. In the first part, I will be dealing with the introduction section, then some declarations, treaties or convention on the law of sea. Further, then I will go through the right of innocent passage and other parts, and then after I will be in the second part I will be dealing with the breadth of the territorial sea, contiguous zone and other parts of the other remaining parts. So let us start this session with the introduction part, where the law of sea is also known as maritime law. It is the branch of public international law which regulates the rights of and duties concerning the regulations of a state with respect to the sea. The law of the sea forms the basics of conducting maritime economic activities, the codification of navigation rules, and to protect oceans from the abuse of power. It covers rights and obligations in areas such as territorial sea and water at the high seas, which is being used for the purpose of fishing, mining, and others. Now, there were some declarations, treaties, conventions on law of the sea. Let us see start from Truman Declaration. That the doctrine of freedom of the seas got a serious setback when President Harry S. Truman on 28th September 1945 proclaimed the natural resources of the seabed and subsoil of the continental shelf beneath the high seas but contiguous to the coast of the US as appertaining to US. The proclamation of the president asserted the jurisdiction and control over the continental shelf but did not affect the character as high seas of the water above the continental shelf and right to their unimpeded navigation. That proclamation also pointed out the progressive development of new methods and techniques, contributed to intensified fishing over wide sea areas, and in certain cases, seriously threatened fisheries with depletion. Now, the second one was the UN Conference on the Law of the Sea. The first UN Conference on the Law of the Sea resulted in the conclusions of our four Geneva Conventions of 1958. The second UN Conference on the Law of the Sea was convened in 1960 to decide the limit of the territorial sea, but it failed to produce any result. The third UN Conference on the Law of the Sea was proposed by the General Assembly after the establishment of the Seabed Committee. Before UN Clause 3, the law of the sea was in a state of disorder. There were conflicting claims on the breadth of the territorial sea, nature and extent of the coastal jurisdiction over fisheries, regime for marine scientific research, coastal state rights and obligations concerning the continental shelf, disagreements concerning the rules for the boundary determination, and even whether or not there exists an international seabed beyond national jurisdiction. Now, the next one is Pardo Proposal of 1967. In the year 1967, Arvid Pardo of Malta informed the General Assembly about the tremendous wealth of the oceans in the form of mineral and hydrocarbon resources. He suggested the need for creation of an effective international regime for the seabed and the ocean floor beyond national jurisdiction, and acceptance of those areas as common heritage of mankind and to be used and exploited for the benefit of mankind. There were some major maritime zones like territorial sea. The scientific and technological process in the 20th century revealed that the territorial sea has tremendous economic importance, strategic importance, and navigational importance. According to Article 2 of UN Clause 18, 1982, it provides that the sovereignty of a coastal state extends beyond its land territory and internal waters, and in the case of archipelagic state, its archipelagic state waters to an adjacent belt of the sea described as the territorial sea. This sovereignty extends to the airspace over the territorial seas as well as to its bed and the subsoil. The sovereignty over the territorial sea is exercised subject to the convention and to the other rules of international law. According to Geneva Convention of the Article 1 of the UN clause is analogous of the Article 1 of the Geneva Convention, which means both the statutes are talking about the same thing. Now let us see Indian proposition. Section 3 to Para 1 of the Territorial Water, Continental Self-Exclusive Economic Zones and Other Maritime Zones Act 1976, that is Indian Maritime Zones Act, makes it clear that the sovereignty of India extends and has always extended to the territorial waters of India and to the seabed and subsoil underlying and the airspace over such waters. Now there are some right of innocent passage. The right of foreign merchantship as distinct from warships to pass unhindered through the territorial sea of coast has long been accepted principle in customary international law, the sovereignty of the coast state notwithstanding. Article 18 of the UN clause 1982 defines the meaning of passage in such a way that navigation through the territorial sea for the purpose of traveling that sea without entering into the internal waters or calling at a roadstead or port facility outside internal waters and proceedings to from internal waters or call such roadstead or port facility. Article 19 of the UN clause states the meaning of innocent passage into is an innocent so long as it is not prejudicial to the peace, good order and or security of the coastal state. Passage of a foreign ship shall be considered to be prejudicial to the peace, good order or security of the sea coastal state if in the territorial sea it engages in any of the following activities like any threat or use of force against a sovereignty, territorial integrity or political independence of the coastal state, any exercise or practice with weapons of any kind, any act aimed at the collecting information to the prejudice of the defense or security of the coastal state, any act of the propaganda aimed at affecting defense or security for the coastal state, the launching, landing or taking on board of any military devices, the launching, landing or taking on board of any aircraft, and that's all. Let us see the further part in the next session with some other new topics. That's all for now. Let us meet in the next session.